I'm Rick Brooks, sitting in my study at our farm here in Princeton, Illinois, about an hour and 45 minutes south of Beloit, from which I graduated, believe it or not, in 1969. I'm in this room because I do a lot of writing and thinking here, but I also have lots of pictures on the wall about people and places I've known over my life, and thought I'd talk a little bit about that today. Um, I've written a chapter in the Little Free Library book entitled Oh, the Places You'll Go. It's from a Dr. Seuss book, and it certainly is the places I've lived and been and worked and served and enjoyed and discovered have been um, important in shaping what I have done in my life and also shaping who I've met, which brings to mind a second quotation from Alfred Lord Tennyson: I am a part of all who I have met. On the wall behind me are pictures of lots and lots of people and groups that I've traveled with. One in particular has struck me and might illustrate some of the issues that I'm talking about now. It was taken in a small village outside of Kathmandu in Nepal. I was fortunate enough to have mentored a young man at University of Wisconsin who, from Nepal, who was a graduate student there and had volunteered with us when I and others were doing some tsunami relief after the country of Sri Lanka suffered through actually 38,000 people died when the tsunami hit in 2004, and over a million lost their homes. And we were doing some relief work. We had a volunteer named Shasir Kanal who started out by stuffing envelopes, um, and ended up becoming the executive director of the Sarvodaya USA organization, which I was directing at the time. And in a matter of 2 or 3 years, we actually raised several $1 million. He went to Sri Lanka many times. And part of what I value so much is the experiences he had both in Sri Lanka and Nepal. He invited me to visit Nepal, and the picture that inspires me today is of a group of us, students from the University of Wisconsin and students from Nepal, who Shazir had recruited to help restore and build a school outside of Kathmandu. And what struck me about the picture is not only the young people who were volunteering from Nepal, but the children in the picture in this very, very, very poor village. Some of those kids were so sharp and so excited and so eager to learn and so eager to play a part in enhancing the quality of life where they lived. I've been inspired by them ever since. Um, we spent actually a couple weeks in that little village, and from that time, Shasir um, and we worked together. We were able to raise quite a bit of money in an international competition to build a whole school outside of Kathmandu and improve their graduation rate from something like 46% of students who started who were finishing to about more than 90% of the students finishing their school. But that inspired Teach for Nepal, very much like Teach for America. Shasir started that, and in the past decade, um, hundreds of university graduates in Nepal have spent 2 years of their lives, men and women, um, teaching in remote villages where often there was no electricity, no water. Um, their first achievements for many of them were showing up every day for school because the previous teachers there couldn't afford even to show up for school. In any case, what inspires me about the picture that I was talking about at this little village was not only the students that Shasir brought to that village, but the children who were growing up in a country with extremely adverse conditions. Well, here we are in 2024. Shasir, when I first met him, I asked him what he wanted to do with his life, and he said, well, I think I'd like to be Prime Minister of Nepal. Well, since the time he was stuffing envelopes, he not only started Teach for Nepal and before that raised millions of dollars for disaster relief in Sri Lanka and Nepal, but he also started a nationwide youth organization, started programs in hundreds of villages, um, hosted the International Teach for Nepal conference, started large national enterprises, and in this past year was elected to parliament in Nepal and is now a minister in the government. I wouldn't be surprised if he were to become the prime minister. He's one example, but what I wanted to bring up were people like him who, when we meet them, we don't know what they are capable of. We have no idea really um, what's in their minds and what's possible. And many of them have survived tremendous adversity and are resilient enough to come back and make really major, major difference in the world. At the same time, they can make a major, major difference in their town or their village or their school or their family. So there are things like that. I had a degree from Beloit in anthropology and education, and my own career path is certainly discoverable online or on the websites that I've projects that I'm still running. I'm 76 years old now, running a bicycle shop, believe it or not, among quite a few other projects here in small little Princeton, Illinois. But wanted to talk about um, how what I learned and experienced in Beloit, people I've known and met, people I still know and cherish, who have influenced me, and maybe we all can continue to influence others in good ways. So that is my brief, but not all that spectacular take on Oh, the Places You'll Go, and I am a part of all the people I have met.